Welcome to Logistics Business Conversations, where we talk with key spokespeople in the logistics industry about topical issues. Hosted by Peter McLeod, editor of Logistics Business magazine.
Welcome to the latest edition of Logistics Business Conversations, recorded in person, live in Logistics Business's podcast studio at IMHX. I'm delighted to be joined today by Alex Christopher, Automation Sales Manager for Mecalux UK. So let's jump straight in. We're here at IMHX. What are your customers talking to you about? What are they after?
They're really interested to see the latest innovations in the industry overall. And a lot of these customers are facing a number of challenges to overcome, some of them being reliability of workforce and actually attaining and retaining the workforce, health and safety within the warehouses, order accuracy, etc. So really a lot of customers today and over the show are interested in dipping the toe a little bit and just seeing what's out there, what's possible.
That's very interesting. You're touching on a lot of areas there. Hopefully we can expand on those a little bit over the course of the next 15 or 20 minutes or so. So let's pick up on labour challenges. I guess that's one of the drivers behind automation. People coming to you saying we're struggling to recruit, we're struggling to retain. Are those the areas where you can help?
Absolutely. It's one of the main driving forces behind it. A lot of the solutions that we see here at these shows, they're a huge benefit to customers because they don't call in for sick days. They don't take cigarette breaks, for example. You know, they're not hungover, picking the wrong order on first thing on a Monday morning after their team lose on Sunday. So it's one big challenge for customers, but one that automation is helping them overcome.
Do you find that there's almost a misconception about automation in as much as it can be very expensive or it is very expensive to implement or we'll lose flexibility if we automate? Are those the sort of queries that you have coming to you and you're able to overcome? Absolutely.
I think you're absolutely right. The investment is a big one. It's no secret that investing in automation, it's a large upfront investment generally. But of course, it's all about finding the sweet spot between do we need to automate absolutely everything right now or do we find some kind of phased plan in which we can, automate what is absolutely necessary today, reap the benefits of those, and then invest the cash generated from that implementation into future states.
Do you find that there's almost a misconception about automation in as much as it can be very expensive or it is very expensive to implement? Or we'll lose flexibility if we automate? Are those the sort of queries that you have coming to you and you're able to overcome?
Absolutely. There's only so much you can do through Teams, and I think going to sites is absolutely essential, to be honest. You have to see the site, see the challenges firsthand, understand the product, the flows, and that ultimately will, lead you to a design which you can inform the customer. This is an area where there is a clear, benefit to automating right now. This one could be a nice to have, but not essential right now, and that's where you find your sweet spot of phasing.
Would you, when you consult with a customer, go and see where the pinch points are, go and see where the pains are, go and have a look around and see where they need the space, or see where there's opportunities to use unused volume? What's your strategy?
Absolutely. I mean, if you take, for example, a frozen warehouse as an example, there's a lot of power required. So, of course, bringing that down to a suitable temperature, one of the big benefits of automation is the space optimization. So if you can really cram as much product in as small a space as possible, the energy needed to freeze or to chill that area is reduced. So there's savings on that front. And of course, the reduction of forklift trucks and the CO2 emissions that they give out is a huge benefit to customers too.
And is it fair to say that you would automate repetitive tasks first? They're the easy ones to pick off. I don't want to say low-hanging fruit, but that's effectively what it is.
Funnily enough, the phrase I was about to use, actually. So, yeah, I'll refrain as well. But you're absolutely right. It is the low-hanging fruit, the shuttling product from A to B, B to A to B, all day, all shift. Absolutely, it's ripe for automation. Anything that's a little bit more chaotic, there's the products where we need to do a specific process to this product before it goes, and it's quite often changing day to day. It doesn't necessarily lend itself to automation. So you're absolutely spot on. The repetitive nature of it is really the area to be focused on.
Over the years, when I've spoken to warehouse operators and logistics businesses and asked them, what are your business priorities? They tell me all sorts of things, as you'd expect. The top 10 challenges. But the one that's always there at the top, and they don't always say what it is the bottom line. So businesses need to make money, obviously. Do you help your customers to treat automation or deploy automation as a competitive advantage?
Absolutely. I think the mindset is shifting in that respect, to be honest. One of the key drivers as well behind automation, as outside of the kind of the labour challenges that we've discussed, is keeping up with competitors. And, a lot of businesses are seeing our competitors are automating, they're reaping the benefits, and we need to keep up. We need to stay ahead of them. So it definitely gives them a competitive drive in their market. What I've seen personally is a lot of the implementations that go in, the customers are actively promoting this on their socials and things. Look how advanced we are. Look how technologically savvy we are. So it's a sales point for themselves as well.
Well, Alex, it's all very well being here at IMHX. We've got demos going on. We get a little bit of an idea of what you're all about. Is there a site where you would say, oh, come along, Peter, come and have a look at this, or this is what we're really proud of?
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely one that springs to mind, which is our client Bathroom Mountain in Stoke-on-Trent. And, we quite openly say with that client, they are absolutely our UK showroom because they pretty much have every product that we sell within the one warehouse. So it's an e-commerce business for bathroom products, as you can imagine. And within that industry, naturally, they have products of all shapes and sizes, baths, toilets, plugs, you name it. So the challenge was, of course, finding product storage. It's not going to waste space having a plug on a Euro pallet, for example. So they utilize 3 different systems in that site: a stacker crane system for Euro pallets, a stacker crane system for XL pallets at 2 meters wide, and then a mini load for small totes as well. And then the conveyor system in the middle, and Easy WMS, the warehouse management software, is managing all of the timings of those orders to consolidate everything together and send them out. So it's a real kind of flagship for us because it really does, showcase everything that we do and we're about.
It's impossible to avoid the expression that AI is driving everything we do, even the most basic forklift trucks. Can you tell me what part AI plays in, let's say, automation generally, because we're not necessarily specific to Mecalux, and where can AI be used and deployed, and where do you think it's going to be more effective in the future?
I think AI is unavoidable in all industries, as you say, and the warehouse industry is no different. In that case, I think you'll see a lot of AI implementations into warehouse management softwares for, faster calculations, more intelligent decisions being made on more, database decisions too. And then, with the implementation of things like cobots, the vision system picking robots, of course, that's an AI element to them too. So I think they're 2 elements you'll really see AI taking over.
Now, Alex, I'm going to ask you an impossible question. You've got your crystal ball down there in front of you, I can see. Listeners won't see that, of course. Tell me, come on, next 5 to 10 years, where are we going? What's the warehouse of the future looking like?
I think exactly as you just mentioned, AI, of course, is going to play a more and more, large-scale role in the development of these products. A lot of them now are being developed with AI in mind to make these kind of critical decisions faster, more effectively. And then I think as well, we can expect to see really scalable modular systems too, ones that have a huge element of redundancy too and are not having a single point of failure. That's going to be key to how the warehouse industry looks in the future.
So what are the areas that Mecalux are most proud of and showcasing at IMHX? Where's the interest? Where's the growth coming from in the company? What are you pushing?
We're, of course, pushing the new products, the new releases. We have with us at the show, we have some of our new shuttle technology, our AMRs, in terms of Mecalux and what we're proud of. One of the real key points to Mecalux is that we're one of the very few suppliers in the market that manufactures absolutely all of these products across the board, including the AMRs, including the rats, etc. So the push really for this show is, of course, let's get the AMRs out there. Let's get the 3D shuttle for pallets, the multi-shuttle for boxes, and because they're the future of warehousing, I think.
We've talked about the UK a fair bit, but there is more to Mecalux than that, I know. How is the company set up?
It's a real big company, probably the biggest company that people haven't heard of, to be honest, in the UK.
Where's HQ?
HQ's Barcelona, which, of course, we're always happy to take customers out there because, there's no downside to that. So HQ is Barcelona. In the UK, HQ is Birmingham, but globally we have over 5,500 employees and 12 production centres. So there's a lot of muscle behind the operation. And, part of our job in sales is to really make those facts known to people in the UK that there is some, real machine behind us.
Absolutely, yes. So I want to just sort of step back a little bit and talk about automation in general. So let's say you've got a businessman coming here to meet you. He's got a small business operation, a small logistics element to that. Perhaps he's become an overnight sensation on Instagram or TikTok, and he needs to increase volumes of unit, which previously he didn't consider him having to shift. How would you walk him through the next steps of automation? How does that work?
It would start, as we said before, with the kind of the site survey, the visit, and to really understand what are the issues right now and where are you now and where do you want to be. It's then, of course, putting a design onto paper, normally an iterative approach, because, it's impossible for us to understand 100% on one visit. So we have to kind of tweak and iron out things. And from there, we talk them through how implementation looks, how we go through finances and all that thing. So talk them through from start of concept to when we can hand over and they can start moving things at a higher rate.
I have to say, finance isn't something I've got much knowledge of or have particularly written about or spoken about. So can I touch on that area a little bit with you? Are automated systems treated necessarily as CapEx? And so would the standard equipment lease contracts apply to them, even though they're not fixed assets?
Some elements lend themselves to leasing, things like shuttle systems where, of course, the main grounded structure, racks and things would, of course, be CapEx. But as an example of an e-commerce business, you may need 10 shuttles, just plucking out a random number, throughout 95% of the year. But you come to Black Friday and suddenly your sales are tripling, so maybe you need 10 more. Then that lends itself perfectly to let's lease 10 more shuttles for the month, take them back, and do it that way.
In terms of physical infrastructure, are there limitations in warehousing that would preclude automation? So, for example, loading points on concrete floors. What sort of areas do you need to have satisfaction in before you can implement?
I think there needs to be, with automation, due to, there is, of course, an element of upfront investment, but there has to be sufficient space to give an ROI on capacity. If the capacity is such that you're going to get the same amount or in and around the area with a manual solution, then, of course, it's, a question of is that ROI going to be there? So I think certainly space.
It's measured by a tangible gain in productivity or throughput.
Exactly. It's
ability to store volumes.
Correct, exactly. And, as a manufacturer of both manual and automated solutions, we can give that comparison to show this is what it would look like with a manual system versus your capacity automated. Put on top, as you say, all of the throughputs that you get with these machines on top. That's where we come. Height in that respect of space is normally the key one. Of course, fresh air is wasted money in warehouses, and that's no secret. So the higher people can go, and you can go to the point where this traditional forklift MHE can't reach. That's the sweet spot where automation is going to make a lot of sense.
Where is the technology leading us, Alex? Is it all automated picking now?
There's still elements of manual picking for sure. I mean, there is, of course, technology for goods to person, for AMRs bringing shelves to people, mini load systems or shuttle systems bringing totes to people. But at present, you generally still need somebody there to pick it, unless it's a cobot with a super small perfume bottle or something, for example. But, moving forward, the heavier duty in an automotive plant, for example, with big, heavy-duty metal parts, that's probably going to, need a little bit of work, I think, on the picking side. But certainly, I think it's one the industry is looking into, as you can see from the show.
Visibility is a very important factor for a lot of logistics operators. Where can you help them out with visibility of stock?
Yeah, Peter, you're absolutely right. Traceability and visibility is key for a lot of companies, especially in the the food and beverage industries. An example of that would be British Sugar, who we've done an automated warehouse with, and you can imagine that the batch information, the expiry dates, all of that, where has that product touch along its journey is key for them. So software is something that can massively help with that traceability journey.
Well, Alex, we're coming towards the end of this edition of the Logistics Business Conversations podcast. I'm going to ask you a final question, which would be, what would you say to a potential customer who's looking to make their first steps in automation? How would you bring them in? How would you walk them through those first steps?
I think it's understanding the issue for sure. I think, first step, of course, is approaching companies such as these, the IMHX. Ideally, Mecalux, that's of course what I have to say, But approaching these companies, invite them into your operation, let the experts see how you operate, and then, let them give you the advice really on this is where we see the future for yourselves. It's sometimes hard for the customers to consider not automating what they do now and really focus on we need to change how we're working. That's why we're looking at automation to kind of change that mindset a little bit, but come in with an open mind and the benefits are there to be taken.
I guess it's true to say that they probably don't know what they need. They know what their challenges are, and then they throw it over to you to come up with a solution.
Absolutely. It's all part of the fun, part of the chess game, but it's part that we enjoy.
It has to be enjoyable, doesn't it? And it looks like you really enjoy it too.
It's rewarding, when you take something from a concept stage to going and seeing it live operating and seeing customers really reaping the rewards of it. It becomes your baby, almost these projects. So it's really rewarding to see.
Well, thank you very much for joining us today in our studio here at IMHX. Thanks also to Mecalux for supporting this edition of Logistics Business Conversations. And thanks to you, the listener, for joining us today. Wherever you get your podcasts from, please subscribe to Logistics Business Conversations to make sure the next edition is delivered straight to you as soon as it's released. Until then, it's goodbye from Alex Christopher.
Thanks, Peter.
And it's goodbye from me, Peter McLeod. Goodbye.